and welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Liz, business coach for women of color, and today is the 2023 mid-year review. I like to keep my reviews of the year super simple, super informal. I have my notes over here, so I'll be looking at that. I have my coffee in hand, so super chill. I really like to take this time to just go through what I had planned originally 6 months ago to see how much has changed, what progress has been made, if any, and to also kind of color things in with a bit more insight from hindsight. So definitely let me know if you have any questions about anything that I'm going through. But with that being said, let's go ahead and get started. So it was interesting looking back at this document, I should say, because it's a reminder of some of the things that I was thinking about back in like December of 2022. So I like to start off my years with words or themes for the year for myself. And for 2023, my words were enhance and celebrate. And the thought process behind that was that I just felt like by the end of 2022, I had learned so much about business, ways that I wanted to do it that was in alignment with my values, ways that I definitely did not want to touch with a 10-foot pole. And I really liked the things I was doing and just really thought about 2023 as an opportunity to just continue to enhance what I was doing, just to continue to deepen my skill set, to continue to just expand upon the things that I was doing just to make them even better. And the second word was celebrate, because as a Black woman who's just been working and working and working for decades, like doing twice as much to get half as far type of stuff, I'm tired. I am tired. And I've also haven't really taken the time to truly actually celebrate how far I've come and to really recognize what these milestones actually mean in the moment. I do a really bad job of celebrating myself, and a lot of us do. So here's a reminder to you to celebrate yourself more, as I am also on a journey of celebrating myself more. So I really wanted this year to also incorporate like slowing down to celebrate how far I've come instead of trying to rush into whatever else needed to get done. So that's how I started the year in my thought process. And at the end of 2022, I was starting to get into data more, really looking at my analytics, looking at ads, seeing how those worked, what ways I could take advantage of that at that stage in my journey, especially as someone who has already made 10K in my business. I have a pretty much established offer. So I was like, okay, let me just go on ahead and test this out and see what happens. Also coaching. So really wanted to deepen into my coaching skills. So I had signed up for a coaching program that started the very end of December and was continuing into January, February, March of this year. So those are really my areas of focus, experimenting with ways that I could increase my reach and visibility while also continuing to hone in on my coaching craft. Like I already had exposure to coaching since 2020 pretty much, and I had seen a few different ways of it being done, but I still saw gaps in the things that I saw, and so I wanted to remain open to a program that would help to address the gaps that I saw and take me that next step of the way, and I did. I found that program, and as I took that program, I also continued to be reminded of the fact that there is still no such thing as a perfect program, no such thing as a perfect course or teacher. So there were still some gaps that I could recognize, but instead of then just saying, okay, I need to find another program that'll help me to show these gaps, instead, I was just like, okay, maybe it's time for me to just close the gaps myself. Because if lots of people are struggling with the similar issues to me at this point in my journey, it means that, okay, there just really isn't a great way to handle this issue. So let's just go on ahead and try to handle it and then learn from it and see what happens. So that's the stage I'm at right now in my journey in terms of business, in terms of coaching skill, wherever. Like if you see a problem, like a consistent problem, it's most likely because there hasn't been a solution for it, or if there hasn't been a solution for it that you have come across. So go on ahead and make your own. Make your own solution and help somebody. So that was where my brain was at the beginning of the year. It was like, okay, experiment with ads, celebrate how far I've come, and also hone in on my coaching skill. Now, a few things that I do always take into consideration with my planning for the year is I want to make sure that I'm thinking about my self-care. So I'm making sure that I'm planning my time off. I'm making sure I'm touching upon my marketing strategy, my financial strategy, my client experience. Like, I'm trying to think about those really, like, the 5 aspects of business for me. So that would be self-care, marketing, sales, client experience, financial management. Those are the pictures that I'm looking at when I'm doing these mid-year reviews. So first, for self-care and planning my time off. It's been a year at this point where I implement this strategy of I take a week off of my business every 6 or 7 weeks. I think it's like every 6 weeks now. So I make sure that I have pretty much at least 10 to 12 weeks off every year from my business where I'm not creating content, I'm not coaching clients. Like, that is just me relaxing, doing nothing. Maybe playing around on Instagram, but I'm not actively posting or anything like that. So I still stick with that strategy. I love it. And even if I feel like I'm getting a little tired or I feel like I don't have energy levels as much as I used to, I'll take a look at my calendar and see when my next break is. And usually it's like within 1 to 2 weeks. So I know that, okay, it's close to that time, and I'll just go on ahead and move it up. I'm like, I'm tired now. If I'm looking at my calendar to figure out when my next break is, that means it's time to take a break now. Like, that's my trigger. So I've been continuing to use that process. It's been fabulous. It's worked wonders. I highly recommend. Now let's talk about marketing. So my plan for the beginning of 2023 was to continue with my typicals, YouTube and Instagram, but I had also started adding in Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube Shorts. And I was doing it because I use this scheduling platform called Later, and it allows you to post to multiple different things at the same time. So if I'm creating something for Instagram, I can post it to Instagram and Facebook and TikTok at the exact same time. With YouTube, I have to post that separately, but then I also started using YouTube Shorts. And I'm not creating original pieces of content for all these different platforms. No. There's no way I could do that with my energy level or sustain my creativity. No way. So I still use my repurposing strategies. So if I'm creating a short form video, that short form video is getting posted wherever you can post short form videos based off of those platforms I'm staying on. And for my long form videos, like my YouTube videos, for instance, I'm still pulling out clips from that and then posting it as short form videos on multiple different platforms. I'm still doing like my captions on Instagram, repurposing them as emails. So I'm still creating 3 original pieces of content per week. And that's the same system that I teach to my clients. Like, if you are passionate about the work that you're doing in your business, there's a good chance you're going to think about something about that business at least 3 times in a week. So that's my baseline. That's where I go. And then I just collect and add to my content bank as I go. So that has been my repurposing strategy for 6 months now at this point, this full repurposing strategy. And it's been effective. What I have done, though, is I have hired a video editor. So I have someone who can actually edit my long form videos, and they also help me to pull out short form clips as well. So that's just one less piece of editing that I have to do. So that has been super helpful. Now, let's talk about financials. So if you've been following my mid-year reviews for at least a year now at this point, I have had this same sales goal of hitting $40,000 every 6 months for the past 3 mid-year reviews. And every single time I have failed to hit that number. And for this mid-year review, I did not disappoint. I also failed to hit this $40,000 goal. But I'm going to keep it because just like I said in my last mid-year review, it's like you aim for the star that you're trying to hit and you will miss it. You will fail because that's just what this process is, especially if you're reaching for an income goal you've never hit before. You're going to fail to hit it, but that's fine. You aim at the star, you shoot for it, you land on the moon. That has been my philosophy since the beginning. Now, in the very beginning stages of my journey, I did not approach it from such a healthy lens. But at this stage in my journey, and with after this level of coaching and self-coaching skill, this is how I approach it at this stage in my journey. It's like you are always, forever going to be aiming at a star. And you don't want to stop aiming for stars, because that's what fuels life and fun and creativity and innovation. You keep aiming for that star, but then you don't beat yourself up when you don't hit it, because you still land on the moon. Like, if you start aiming for mountaintops, cool, it's a mountaintop, but you're gonna fail and you're not gonna be on the moon, you're gonna be in a valley somewhere. So always still keep aiming at that star. So still $40,000, did not hit that goal. And actually, if you follow me on Instagram as well, I did a video about this a few weeks back. I actually didn't sign any new one-on-one clients in the past 6 months. I honestly felt some type of way about that. I truly did. I thought to myself, okay, I thought this part of my journey was over, like this frustration of not signing clients for a long period of time. But then I realized that this part of your journey is never over. Like, this is entrepreneurship, where there are periods of time where you are going to have these unexpected hiccups that just weren't even in your awareness. You just were not thinking that you would have to deal with this issue. And they're going to make you feel some type of way. They're going to be frustrating. It's going to feel like you're banging your head against a wall. But when you start to understand that, oh, this is just the process, then it gets a little bit easier. You still feel annoyed and frustrated at it, but it still gets easier to continue, and it becomes less about a feeling of you as an entrepreneur, but more so just a gap in your ecosystem that you want to play around with and adjust. So that's what I've done at this stage. I started thinking about more ways I could communicate my message. And interestingly enough, how I've stumbled across it was, so remember in the beginning I said I wanted to focus more on celebrating how far I've come, right? So I was thinking about ways to just play and have more fun. And one of the ways I wanted to do it was to tell more stories and do more storytelling. And when I originally started back in 2020 on YouTube, that was the point. Like, I just wanted to tell stories and share insights from my story that could help other people going through similar situations, especially other Black women going through similar situations. So I was just thinking, I'm just going to go back to my roots and dive more into storytelling and have more fun and just be open to that. And I had tried some courses in the past that talked about ways to tell better stories and things like that, and nothing really stuck. But then I just so happened to be on Facebook, and I saw this ad for this thing called Pip Decks. I'll link them in the description below. But it was like, again, talking about storytelling, but also using cards. And so I thought it was a cute little thing to play with and to just have fun. And so as I was playing around with the Pip Deck cards, I noticed things, like I was learning little tiny bits of information that really opened my eyes to how storytelling can be a really helpful tool when helping people to learn things. Because we get tons of information, we're bombarded with information all day long on social media, right? But if you're able to share those insights by telling a story, it's more likely to stick. It's more likely to help someone through the learning process. And, we've been telling stories to each other as human beings for thousands of years. So it's just like, oh, this is a great way to, one, go back to my roots and really go back to the thing that I had just kind of fallen in love with, being able to tell those types of stories. And to two, like, help people to learn what I'm trying to share in a more digestible way. Like, to me, that's more meeting them where they're at. So I was super excited to try this. And interestingly enough, it also deeply connected with the learnings that I had done about developing my coaching skill and really understanding that the reason why coaching, impactful coaching, really has to be client-centered and not just about a coach yelling at you and preaching at you about what you should be doing according to them. Like, the reason why it's so important for it to be client-centered is because, people attach meanings to words, to experiences. They attach meaning to things. So just because you are explaining to someone an insight or a lesson learned, it doesn't mean they're digesting it in the same exact way that you're saying it. Like I've said this before too, like for coaching, in my coaching containers with my clients, I am very much doing most of the listening and asking questions, because the insights in my head are old news. They helped me. They're good for me. Like they set me free. But the purpose of the coaching session is for the client to experience these insights in their heads. Like I've had clients who were talking out loud in session after I'd asked them a particular question. And as they're explaining it, they're saying, I'm having trouble explaining it to you and articulating it in a way that makes sense, but it makes sense for me. And I'm like, that's the goal. If it makes sense for you, you are achieving the result that you came for in your head, and that is the goal. Language is just so complicated, and one way to simplify it is through storytelling, by talking about experiences, by talking about the feelings connected to those experiences, by talking about the meaning that you attach to those experiences based off of your experience and your perspective, and then explaining like the what happened next, explaining like what changed things, where you're at now, what you think about things now, like what things mean to you now. That is the power of storytelling. And I would not have been able to get that deep of a connection if I didn't take the first 3 months of this year to really just focus on understanding the art and science of coaching, like understanding it on a very deep level. Now, because of that, I was able to connect those dots and say, oh, these are the ways that I can experiment with things in my marketing moving forward. And that was really, really cool to me. So yes, the fact that I did not sign any new one-on-one clients for the first half of this year certainly made me feel some type of way. But I also realized it was important for me to take the time earlier this year to focus on my coaching. Because if I had skipped that part and just went straight to, and this is just for me, like not to say anyone's journey has to look this one particular way. It's more so just a lesson about listening to yourself and listening to what it is you feel is important to experiment with next and to explore next in your business. So your path could look different, and it most likely will look different, and that's fine. But you really have to like your reasons for what it is you want to explore next. Otherwise, you're just chasing things. So it was really important for me to take that time to explore my coaching. So even though I was thinking, oh, well, maybe if I had focused more on like my messaging or, communicating in my marketing a different way, maybe if I had focused on that first, then I would have signed more clients in the first half of this year. But if I had focused on that first, I would not have had that deepened layer. Like I'm the type of person where I really like to understand the impact of what I'm doing before I do it. I really like that, and I get a lot of value from that. And if I had skipped that part, it's like, yeah, maybe I would have signed more clients at the beginning half of this year, but I would not have had this particular insight that I have now, and that would have been a shame. So all in all, I'm glad that the year worked out the way that it did, and it really gave me more time to really reconnect with my original purpose and my mission for wanting to create this business, reconnecting to my why, which was also super important. And when you're experiencing hearing crickets, client droughts, that's really the only time to reconnect to that. Because if you get lots of clients coming in and you get money coming in, that can often be a distraction from the work that you really want to do, that can really elevate you as an entrepreneur, as a service provider, as a person, honestly. So yeah, even though this first half of the year did not go as expected, I'm glad that it went the way that it did. So I'm taking these lessons into the next half of the year, and we'll see how things go. We will see how things go. The sales goal remains the same, 40,000 end of December. And we're going to keep it moving. I did make a few $100s this year from like speaking engagements, also from experimenting with ads and selling a low ticket item. So I have started seeing some success with ads, which is really cool and different. So I'm excited to keep doing that. And yeah, that's pretty much the big stuff. Nothing else is really changing for the last half of this year. Still utilizing my content bank. I'm just going to be incorporating a little bit more opportunities for storytelling. And yeah, that's basically it. So I will keep you posted in the next review. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments below. And if you are in your business journey, but you are still struggling to be present in the moment, to recognize the opportunities that you want to follow, to explore next based off of your values, if you're having trouble doing that and you still feel like you're just chasing those 10K months, I can help you, because that is really no way to do business. Like, it will make this journey so painful, and you don't have to do it that way. So if you need help doing your business your way, I have spots open for one-on-one coaching. So you can use the link in the description box below to book your call. We'll chat, see if it's the right fit, and then we'll get you started doing your business your way for the rest of this year and beyond. All right, take care. See you next video.